welcome back to Life in Print with Leonie, or welcome if you're new. So today I'm going to be doing the A to Z Bookish survey, and I was prompted to do this not because I was tagged but just because I thought it looked really cool. So the link to the original tag is below in my description, and that is actually from a blog rather than a vlog. So I actually heard about it from watching a video by Super Space Chick. She has a really cool vlog, so I've put the link to her video below as well, and you should check out her channel because it's really funky. It's always very colourful, her shelves are amazing, and now I'm blathering like I'm fangirling, so I'm going to hush and just get straight into it because there are quite a lot of questions. Letter A, an author you have read the most from. This was a struggle because initially when I started thinking about it, I was thinking along the lines of Cassandra Clare, possibly Jilly Cooper, because they tend to be the authors I've read a lot of now. But what I didn't think about was all the books that I actually read when I was a child. So when I went on to Goodreads, because you can, if you do think of doing this tag, you can check it out by going to My Books on your Goodreads tab, and then on the left hand side at the bottom there's a little tab that says author read the most or something along those lines, and you can actually see which author you've read the most. So my top author is actually, drumroll, Roger Hargreaves, author of the Mr. Men and Little Miss series, and I have actually read 76 of his books. B, the best sequel ever. For this question I had to choose City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. I love the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and not one of these books has ever let me down. I feel like it's the only series where sort of the interim books in the middle have been just as great as the first and last in the series, so it's the only one that hasn't disappointed me. C, currently reading. So I'm currently reading an art copy of Monster in the Closet by Karen Rose. It's part of her romantic suspense series in the Baltimore sub-series, and I am enjoying it so far. Drink of choice while reading. That would have to be green tea. E-reader or physical book? Now this one is a toughie because if you've seen my video on e-reader versus physical book, then you will know that I love both my Kindle and the physical book. So I'm going to say that I'm very much on the fence with this question, and I can't pick one or the other because they both have their perks. If you do want to have a more detailed answer to that, you can watch my video e-reader versus physical book for more info on why I like them both the same. Fictional character that you probably would have dated in high school. This was a big toughie for me because I was like, in high school I was a massive chav, as well as a bit, I hadn't grown into myself very much, so I didn't wear makeup. Straighteners pretty much hadn't been invented, or at least not very good ones, so I had this enormous bushy hair. I was very bookish, so I had this kind of like split persona going on, where on one side I was like wearing my tracky bottoms and my big hooped earrings, and on the other side I was sat with my nose in a book and really studious in lessons. So I didn't really have any time for dating, or really, well, I didn't go on any dates at all in high school. So I guess I would have liked to have said, who I would have liked to have thought I could have dated would have been Jace from Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters Chronicles, but obviously looking like I did back then, probably not. So if I had to be realistic, around that time I was kind of going through my teenage rebellious stage, and I really liked bad boys, so I'd be more likely to go for somebody like Freddie from Martina Calls the Take. Considering he was played by Tom Hardy in the TV adaptation, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but he wasn't a very nice guy. Glad you gave this book a chance. That would have to be Marauder by L.L. McNeil. I say this because at the moment I've had to say that I can't accept ARCs from self-published authors, or authors who contact me through my blog, mainly because I'm just so busy at the moment, as if you've watched my other videos you'll know. Also, I'm a huge fan of NetGalley, and I have a lot of books from NetGalley to read every month, so outside of those ARCs I just can't take on anymore. But when the author Lauren got in touch with me and asked me to read the book. The synopsis just sounded so good. I thought, just give it a go. If you don't like it, you don't have to finish reading it. And I absolutely loved it. It was a great fantasy novel, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. So I'm glad that I went against my sort of rule that I'd set myself and accepted that arc. Hidden gem book. I think that would have to be A Nemagram by Rebecca Gransden. So that was an arc from another self-published author actually that I received way back when I first started really reviewing books on my blog, and it's just fantastic. I can't even really put it into a genre. It's sort of got fantasy, supernatural. It's just really beautifully written, and I don't think many people know about it. I am doing a giveaway of it at the end of this month. If you check out my blog around the 17th of May, I'm doing an interview with Rebecca and a giveaway, so go in for a chance of winning that book because it is really worth a read. It's not particularly long, it's not a big book, but it is beautiful. Important moment in your reading life. I would say that would be coming across Goodreads. So prior to that, I would basically just go into like W.H. Smith's or Waterstones and pick up whatever book I fancied. There were a few authors that I liked a lot who I'd read several books by, but I was having to literally like troll through Google to find out when the next book in the series was coming out, if the book I was reading was the first in the series or not, and it was really hard to keep track of what I'd already read, what I hadn't read. I found I was like buying books and then starting reading them and thinking, this sounds familiar, I've already read this. Goodreads has allowed me to become obsessive, yes, but it's also allowed me to keep a really good track on what I've read, to shelve them into genres, to be able to follow the author so that I know when something's been published, and also to find out how many there is in a series, what other reviewers think of it. It's just a great thing to have. It's all there on my phone, on my app, or on the website if I log in there. And it's just really good to keep track of. For example, it's helped with this video because I've been able to find out the authors that I've read the most of, as I mentioned at the beginning. I have just finished reading The Unseen by Roy Jacobson last night. That is shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, and it's set in a fictional island called, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Baroi, off the coast of Norway, and it's all about the family that live on the island and just sort of their everyday life. But it's very interesting because sometimes just writing about the intricacies of people's lives that are so different from your own, who are living via a different culture even to the people on mainland Norway, can just be as interesting as something that's full of suspense and action. Kind of books you won't read. I would have to say, with very few exceptions, that would be autobiographies and true life stories. I haven't really got an interest in reading about people who have been abused, who have been beaten, neglected, sexually abused. It's distressing, it's upsetting. I know that it is 100 times more distressing and upsetting for that person, and that writing it can give them a outlet to help them get through the things that have happened to them. But I find reading them to be very voyeuristic. I don't enjoy reading about other people's pain. I struggle in a fictional book to read about other people's pain. So to read about it and know that that's true, it feels a bit like reading somebody's diary. I just don't like the concept of it, and that's not judging anybody who does, but it's just not for me. The longest book you've ever read, that would be A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. I actually have it in 2 parts here, but collectively 1,177 pages long. Whew. Major book hangover because of. So I wasn't really sure what the term book hangover meant. I kind of got the concept that it's like having a hangover because of a book, but I didn't know if it was meant to be a good thing or a bad thing. But in my choice, it is a good thing, and it is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. This book ripped me apart at the seams, destroyed me. I want there to be more. I know there kind of is more in the sense of the new series, which begins with Lady Midnight, but it's just like Jace and Clary and everyone, and it's just all over, and it makes me sad, and it put me into a bit of a reading slump as well because I just loved it so much and didn't want it to end, and it was the first time I'd felt like that about a book for a really long time. Number of bookshelves you own. I have the 4 bookshelves that you can see behind me, which are the Billy bookshelves from IKEA, and then I also have an oak bookshelf which I saved mostly to film these videos on. So it's empty at the moment, but it works out at a good stand, at a good height, to pop my little Gorilla Pod and my phone on to film the videos. And I'm also kind of saving it for a really soppy reason, that it's a good strong bookcase that are usually quite expensive to buy, and I would like to save it for if and when I have children, for them to put their books on, because they're obviously going to be bookworms coming from me. One book that you have read multiple times. I pretty much would say that this is probably on everybody's list of books they've read multiple times, but it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. As you can see, it's very well thumbed. Some of the pages are starting to come loose because I've had this book since I was 7 years old. I've read it multiple times myself, and also read it to all 3 of my siblings when they were younger as well. Preferred place to read, that would be either the bath or my reading chair, which I did a video on for my Book and a Brew unboxing, if you'd like to have a look at that chair. Reading regret. I would say that was back in the long past, when I first met my boyfriend about 2 years ago. I used to read books even when I didn't like them. I'd get, a quarter of the way through and be like, I hate this book, it's rubbish, it's badly written, I don't like the storyline, I don't like the characters, but I'd still read it just because I felt that I needed to finish it. Then my boyfriend said to me, why are you doing that? If it's rubbish, just put it down, forget about it, read something you want. And I wish that I had done that a long time ago, because then I would probably be further down my TBR than I am now. Series you started but haven't finished, and all the books must have been published already in this series. So there's loads of series that I've started and haven't finished yet because the books haven't been published. And the only one that I can think of that all the books have been published and I haven't finished is the Dreamblood series by N.K. Jemisin. So I read the first book, The Killing Moon, about a year ago, and it's a really good series. It's high fantasy, which is one of my favourites, and there's only one other book in the series, The Shadowed Sun, and for some reason I've just never got round to actually borrowing it, buying it, whatever, and reading it. So I really do need to get back into that, because it was a great first book, and I'm hoping the second will be just as good. 3 of your all-time favourite books. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, again. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. These are my 2 copies of it, my leather-bound and my gothic. And my more recent acquisition, Strange the Dreamer by Leonie. Unapologetic fangirl for, that would have to be Terry. So Terry writes sort of dystopian fiction for YA, and she's a really amazing author. She debuted with her novel Slated, and that went on to be a 3-part series. She's also written Mind Games and a few others as well. I love all of her books, and she's really underrated, to say that she's such a good YA author, and you should definitely check her out if you like dystopian fiction. Very excited about this release more than any other. That would have to be Muse of Nightmares by Leonie Taylor, because I just finished Strange the Dreamer and I loved it so much that I need the next book already. Worst bookish habit. Folding the corners over on pages instead of using a bookmark. X marks the spot. Starting on the top left hand corner, count to the 27th book on your shelf. That is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. Your latest book purchase. That was The Stranger Within by Catherine Croft, which I bought for 99p on the Kindle Daily Deal. The last book that has kept you up way too late. That was Mind Games by Terry. I really couldn't put that book down, and I was just thinking, I'll just read one more chapter, and then I got to like 20% through the end, and I was like, I might as well just stay up and read this, and then it was like 2 a.m. So that concludes my A to Z bookish survey. I'm not going to tag anyone in this, because I just think I tend to tag the same people anyway, so you guys know who you are and you're welcome to do the survey. But I think just anybody who wants to take part in the survey, go for it, and I hope you enjoy doing it as much as I have. I'll see you next time.